Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Happy Wednesday. How are
Happy
you?
Wednesday, October 1st. Fall is here.
Fall, this is my favorite time of year. I started decorating for Halloween at this September 1st.
That's right.
I have like cute little like ghost rug in front of my door and like little stand-up, things from like Five Below. It's
It's the best time of the year. Sweater
delicious.
weather.
I love that so much. Oh gosh. Well, for those of you who are watching with us, I'm Jillian Conley. I am the Vice President of Marketing, Communications, and Strategies for the CEO Woman, and I'm here with the wonderful and amazing Dawn Crawley. Welcome.
Thank you so much. Love those adjectives. I'll take that. Yes, excited to be here and happy to contribute and give back and make some connections, obviously.
Yeah, definitely. So for anyone who is watching live, I'm going to have Dawn give us a little bit of her story, and then we'll drop her links in the chat for you so you can click and find her on all the various digital platforms. So Dawn, why don't you go ahead and give us a little high-level overview of who you are and how you know us at the CEO Woman.
I am Dawn Crawley, the owner of STW Cleaning, started in 2017. And in 2020, of course, COVID happened. Had relationships with Tina, knew who Tina was, obviously well connected within the Loudon Chamber in the Northern Virginia area. But in 2021, due to COVID, I was actually drowning. And that's how I got introduced to the Fab Five. Tina called me and said, would you be interested in some coaching? And I was like, yeah. What took you so long to call? I didn't know I needed you. And thank you so much.
I love that so much. So for anyone who doesn't know Dawn or me and her are like the originals for the
For the
CEO
OGs.
group. We're the OGs. I think Tina called Dawn first, and then Erica Rose, shout out, hey friend, and then me. And by the end of that week, there were five of us there to get mentored and poured into. The thing about starting a business or trying to make leaps and bounds in your business is you can probably do it by yourself, but if you can get a mentor to help you bypass some of those things that the learning curve, the steepness of it, like you'll have so much better experience and have your foundational practices put into play. You have accountability, someone to care for you and point out when you're not doing the right thing.
Oh,
Um,
so true. The care
it,
for you is important. And I always say you don't know what you don't know.
yeah,
And having a sounding board, you're like, I didn't know that, or I didn't think of that. But the care, I have to say, out of anything with Tina, the Fab Five, the school, the community you build, but the care for you personally is beyond words. And I know you know that too.
absolutely. Yeah, Tina's so good at surprise and delight. That's her thing. And I cannot tell you how many cards and trinkets and stickers that are wrapped around my iMac. I've got cards, with her love on it right here. And I keep it all around my desk to like remind me of why I am pushing so hard to create the life that I want. And I know she's inspired you as well. So thank you, Tina. I'm sure you're watching. We love you. So I have a handful of questions I'm going to ask you to help you kind of tell your story and help our audience follow along. So let's go ahead and talk about the beginning. Talk to me about what was going on in your life. You said you started in 2017. What made you do this? What made you start your company?
Well, some of you may know because I'm pretty open about it. In 2016, we walked away from an established business, filed Chapter 7, lost a lot of money, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. But what was so devastating at the time was the time, equity, and the sacrifice you put into creating a business. You have to take from one area to give to another. And reflecting on that, when I took precious time that I could spend with my kids, you can't, time moves forward, you can't get that back. So that was just devastating. I had many in the community, women say just start over, but it took me a minute. I had to grieve. I'm like, I just had my head in my hands. I don't think I can do this. But in 2017, I recognized I was at a fork in the road on what direction to go. And I recognized what I learned, the opportunities I had from before, I could implement now and create a culture that I wanted. So I decided to do that in 2017. And it was slow going. It takes a bit. And then 2020 happened, as we all know, that week in March, residential cleaning shut down. And I'm like, what are we going to do? I had about 80% residential, 20% commercial. But
Mhm.
because the relationships of community, I was able to get a contract, a government contract that not only allowed us to thrive, but we not just survive, we thrive.
Right.
I'm so thankful because I was able to give back to the community during that time, clean people's homes at no charge to keep my teams working, and
Mhm.
help local businesses with their advertising and putting myself out there and putting back into the company. So
Mhm.
that's really what happened. And that's when Tina called me, was in 2021, when, or whenever that was, when I was just like, I had no guardrail. So
I
then yeah, that's just kind of how it grew from there.
love that. Was there any kind of like moment between the close down and the startup in between there? Was there something specific that were you listening to a song? Were you on a big hit? What were you doing when you said, okay, it's time to pick my head back up and go? How did you get yourself into that?
I don't think it was one thing. I'm very, very aware and deep into my degree. My degree's in psychology, and I am very intentional about trying to take care of my own self physically, emotionally. Does it happen all the time? No. So when it wasn't so overwhelming, when I could breathe deeply, and when I knew I needed to start again, is really what happened. It wasn't a song. It's just when I was able to breathe and not feel like a concrete weight was on my chest. And then I said, okay, I've been through this process. How do I want to move forward? And that's what I decided.
Love that. That's so good. Now, from the beginning where you started working in your one-on-one with Tina in the Fab Five, is there from beginning to becoming a participant into a mentor? Because if you are a part of our sisterhood, you know, Dawn teaches with us. She's a subject matter expert in a lot of areas. I think your KPI talk was one of the most like helpful, systematic talks I had that whole year when I was in year two. Talk to me a little bit about how you grew through the sisterhood in our programs. I want to know how that's impacted you as a leader and a friend in the community.
Yeah, well, working with Tina, she's such a great connector and such an encourager on what directions to go. And once I changed my language and my mindset, we hear these words all the time, but it is so true, of what I don't know to what I do know and what I'm good at doing, and then figure out what I don't know and how to go. So really, the sisterhood really helped me. There is somebody there that knows what you don't know,
Yeah,
always. It
absolutely. Yeah.
right. And so I'm like,
Amazing.
yeah. And I'm just like, lean into that community and lean into it as a mentor and as a mentee. I still need a mentor, right? So
Absolutely.
I have to say, I just really, when I'm in the car, I'm on Audible, I'm listening to books, I'm making notes. There's 5 books I have in rotation that I try to listen to every year that
Mhm.
reminds me of those things. And one of them was Measure What Matters and Traction. I know we hear about those. And so that really got me into, no matter the size of your business, if you're single, have a team, you need to measure these things. And Tina and the school really do help you do that, measuring where you are, where you were, and where you want to go.
Right. Absolutely. That's so good. Now, from the beginning of when I first met you in 2020 to now, you've had a brand transformation.
Did. And it
Are you
wasn't
sharing
something
that with us?
wasn't something I really wanted to do. So it's ironic, and this is one thing I encourage people to do that costs you no money, is to go do a trademark search. You can go online and do it. You can do a soft search. If you
Mhm.
get to a point where you want to hire attorneys, fine. So when I opened up House Cleaning Heroes in 2017, sitting
Mhm.
at my attorney's office, Jeff is there. He said, you really need to do a soft search. But I was like, nah, I'm not going to do this. My mind is, it's just a little bit of something to tide me over. Would have cost me no money to do it.
Yeah.
But when I entered the commercial space, House Cleaning Heroes didn't make sense. So I said, you know what, I really need to have an umbrella, which was going to be HCH, for standing for House Cleaning Heroes, for the commercial division. Sure
Mhm.
enough, I filed that trademark. So
Mhm.
in May of 2017, a company down in Virginia Beach called themselves Home Clean Heroes, which was a cleaning company. Here
Mhm.
I am in the same industry as House Cleaning Heroes in June of 2017. They had me dead to rights by about a month, and we're
Mhm.
in the same industry. And by time we're going back and forth, I'm $20,000 in with attorney fees. We're not ever talking about rebranding. And I said, you know what? They are correct. They have a right to this. So
Yeah.
how do I want to move forward? One thing I have to say to people, please, please run a trademark search. Even if you think this isn't something you're going to do, it cost me $50,000, $60,000 by the time it's all said and done between rebranding and shirts, cars. You have to think about everything that is involved. However, I was able to keep my logo, which was the hero, which was the heroine of the story, the girl, the flying girl,
I
cleaning
love
your house. And that was my main point, was what was my message. So yes, I had a rebrand. STW stands for Save the Weekend. It was always our hashtag, and I still have the girl, my logo, as a strong woman. But yeah, I had to rebrand. But I'm happy with the way it turned out, and I think my messaging is even more clear and better now.
That's great. I love that. I'm a huge fan of people focusing on their messaging. It's amazing how getting clarity around your messaging can give you clarity around your audience, around your targeting, around your revenue streams, and how you want to go further if you're trying to expand. So that's really good.
And I do want to say, Jillian, when you say expand, you kind of have to think about it that way.
Yeah.
And you may want to be in a narrow lane, that's fine too. But if you're wanting to expand, then what does that brand look like and how can it be expandable?
Absolutely. I see a lot of people will start with making a decision for today. And then I'm like, but that's trendy. What does that look like in 5 years? I'm always thinking 5 years and everything. Like if I have an argument with someone, I'm like, does this matter in 5 years? No. Okay.
No,
I
right.
like, you know what I mean? Like I'm always looking at things at the helicopter view because
Yep.
the further you can plan ahead for your business, the better and stronger your brand will be fully. So if you're really thinking long term, think what is the dream? What is your dream for your business? And go for it. Make it happen.
And I
And
did. I was at a point I'm like, oh, I'm just going to create this dumb vision board, right? I'm like, I've tried everything else and this is so stupid, but I'm going to do it, even though I believe in those things in a way. And
Mhm.
everything in 2020 I put on that vision board came true within a year and a half.
It's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about community with the CEO Woman because that is what we focus on. We're here to build, community of women that will support each other, that will be a resource to one another, and ultimately do life with you, because entrepreneurship can be very lonely. Is there anything about your experience in the community that has either meant like an extraordinary amount to you? Maybe it shaped a decision that you made or has encouraged you, inspired you to, move in a certain direction. Is there anything about the community that you found to be helpful for you?
Well, first of all, teaching year two, I have found extremely helpful. There's a saying, learn it, use it, teach it. The
Mhm.
more I teach what KPRs, OKRs are, how to run a level 10 meeting, it's also a corrector for me,
Yeah,
especially the time of year we do it. So first of all, teaching and seeing these women and recognizing that they need some work in a certain area, making those connections honestly has been some of the best times. I look forward to it every year. I told Tina, I was like, don't you dare take me out there. And I would also tell Tina, maybe I need to come in a little earlier in year two. So when we're doing this. So also there is something when you meet CEO women in the wild.
Mhm.
So if you're at another networking event, that's not a CEO woman event, you're like,
Mhm.
okay, there is an affinity, there is something. And when you're in the school, you're 1 and 2 with them. Those are relationships that you can always call on these women. And
Absolutely.
there's just something there, that community that I can't, it's special. It's
It
special.
is. Absolutely. I agree with that. Excuse me. So in the midst of your journey, you've shared a lot about your story. So thank you. I want to talk a little bit more about the messy middle. A lot of people, when the women come to us, they tend to be at this point where they're feeling overwhelmed. Maybe they're trying to do too many things at one time, or maybe they're really good at what they're skilled at, but they don't have the experience to actually run or operate their business or put in the right systems and stuff. When you're in the messy middle and everything is everywhere all at once, how do you get yourself refocused so that you can get in alignment for your mission?
Yeah, and messy metals ebb and flow too. You
Yes, they
think you
do.
might be at a place where I'm never going to have a messy middle, but if you're growing, if you're scaling, sometimes you have those messy middles too.
Yes.
So for me personally, I like to do the brain dump. If I can't sleep at night, I'll just get up. I'm just like, I'm just get up, write
Mhm.
down everything that is on my mind, just get it on a piece of paper so I can refer back to it.
Mhm.
And a messy middle can be a good thing,
Yes.
right? So sometimes we're thinking of how overwhelming it is, but a messy middle can cause you to reevaluate. And if I am loaded down, is this really the way I want to go? The messy middle also makes you remember too, I need to reconnect, because a lot of times we're just disconnected in that time. And there
Mhm.
are things that happen in your personal life that cause that area to be messy, and you may have to step back.
Right.
So I try to breathe. I do self-care. I do a massage a week. I
Mhm.
exercise 3 days a week. Am I perfect about all these? No.
Mhm.
And just recognize that. I do the brain dump, I do reading, I take time for myself, and I recognize that time is the one factor that we all have, that we're all equal. We have 168 hours and it moves forward. So I'm very focused on how I spend my time for
Mhm.
myself, for my business, and for my family.
I love that. Do you have any wisdom behind time blocking and managing your life as both a mom, a wife, and a business owner? How do you do it? It's a lot of hats. It's a
Yeah,
lot of.
in the beginning, my youngest at the time in 2017 was 12. It's different now that he's 21. But
Yeah.
so recognize too that there are differences. If you have a new baby, if you have a 2, 3-year-old, that will look different than what it will look like for me. In the beginning, I was able to network a lot, realizing that networking adds another layer of work. You network, you've got to meet with some of these people that you've met, right? So,
Absolutely.
so time blocking, I absolutely, and even with social media, you can time block on your calendar. You're going to post every Monday, right? Be
Mhm.
thoughtful at the beginning of the month on, I just put block. I put block me time, block office, here
Mhm.
when I'm doing the work. So if you don't do it, if you don't manage your time will manage you, and then you'll have none.
Absolutely. I am I'm ADHD, so I have a side of me that's very rigid and ritualed, but I have that ADHD that's like squirrel, can't stay focused on things. Nothing's exciting enough to keep my focus. And what I've learned to do to kind of bridge the gap, because I know we've got some neurodivergent friends who are part of our community, is I literally map out every 15 minutes of my day, and it's in my calendar permanently, and I keep myself on a schedule. So I always wake up at 6 a.m. I always do my coffee until 7. I spend that first hour listening to audiobooks, doing some mindfulness. I might sit and draw or write whatever I feel like I need in that moment to like allow me to wake up. But that time is sacred to me as a mom. It's sacred to me as an individual, and, as a person who needs to show up with a smile. If you don't take time to pour into yourself, everything you're doing is from an empty cup.
Well, it's funny you say that because I have to read the news before I do anything. I'm like, let me just take 15 minutes and peruse the headlines. Also, I don't have ADHD, so I love that 15-minute increment, but
Mm.
um, oh shoot, that's in my brain. But yes, absolutely. I can't tell you enough. I also use you try different methods. I know Tina has a folder method that she uses. I tried it.
Yes.
Her 30-day method didn't work for me.
Mhm.
Okay. So try multiple methods with you. I do use the Eisenhower, I think it's called motto, important, not important, urgent, not urgent kind of thing. That works for me too. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, so there's different types of models. The 15-minute increments is more of like the Pomodoro technique for time management. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Eisenhower that you just?
oh, it is the 4 quadrants. And Tina, when you work with Tina, she'll say, are you working on your business or in your business? And you want the
Oh,
majority to be not urgent. If the
right.
majority of
Yes.
your tasks are in the urgent, so it's important, not urgent, important and urgent, not
Mhm.
urgent, not important. And then I can't remember the fourth one, but the point is you want most to be in important, but not urgent. And when you find that most are in your urgent and
Mhm.
important, then you need to see where those gaps are. Yeah, I have it on a whiteboard in front of me, and it's a joy to be able to cross off certain
Absolutely.
things. So I like that. Not having
Okay, I've got to ask you a question. I'm going to tell myself, are you the kind of person that will do a task and then add it to your list and then check it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't on your list.
Yes. Did that. Yes. Even if it wasn't on there. And you know what? I've been reading a lot too. It starts with me making my bed every morning. That is my first task. Yes.
I love that.
I'm
Oh
like,
my, there's
okay, I
so much wisdom in that. There's so much
yes, it's my first, okay, done it, completed that, and I'm off to a good start. So that's how my day looks like. Like you said, I drink tea, not coffee, but I make my bed. I do exercise on my days, and then I read my headlines and I just prepare myself for my day.
I love that so much. That's so good. So we're coming kind of closer to the end, and I would really love to hear, do you have any advice or wisdom or a story, anything that's been like a catalyst to your success that you would want to share with the women to give some inspiration, or wisdom, both directions?
Yeah, I would say it's ironic because I expanded so quickly. And now my focus is growing intentionally, even though I was somewhat before. So
Mhm.
I've cut half my revenue. I've
Mhm.
cut out a lot to have what we were talking at the summit. Somebody said, "What is success?" Success to me is doing what you want, when you want, where you want.
I love that. That's
So,
a measurement for
right?
absolutely.
So I will have to say, just know in the beginning, and I've also said this to women, there are times that you live on the razor's edge of complete failure and complete success. There are times that you realize this isn't going to work. I need to stop. Let me stop and walk away. And that's okay. And let me get back up. I say I like to be the bumper cars of business. If I run into an obstacle, I just bump off of it and my car is turned around. And how do I want to go? So I'm saying a lot of things here, but what I'm trying to tell you is it's okay to walk away. It's okay to make changes. And you have the ability, being a business owner, to make those changes. We're not bogged down by corporate rules. Go ahead and do that. Listen to your gut intuitively. Ask yourself why you're doing what you're doing. It does matter whether it is impacting the community or your family. And just know that when you're on that razor's edge, it's okay. You don't want to live on there constantly. You do want to get to those levels, but you will have peaks and valleys. And when you have the peaks, when you have the valleys, is the time to connect with your community. Reach out to the women in your community and to the CEO women. Um, Lean on them. And when you have that level, you become the one that people can lean on you. That's what I would say.
I love that. There's so much wisdom in that. My life imploded right after I started my company in 2020, and it continued to get worse. Like you would have thought I was at the bottom, and I was like nowhere near. And
Right.
as I was trying to stand back up with 3 kids under 3 when I started my business during a pandemic, I had to stand back up. It was not my family that helped me do that. It was this community. It was the text
Yeah.
messages and the I'm here, I see you, people hopping on Zoom to just check in and make sure I had a support. Because if your home life is struggling, if your self-care world is struggling, if there's other things happening, you are human and it impacts your business. You're a whole person. And having a community to support you is seriously the most wise thing you can do.
Jillian, I do want to tell this one quick story. So during COVID, when it was shut down, everybody was baking their bread and doing their exercises. And I was out working like crazy. I'm like, I need to be a part of this, right? So I talk about this when I give speeches. So I'm out running, looking cute. I'm thinking I'm looking cute, got my shoes, I'm doing a little, not a bit, and out of nowhere, I fall down, smack up on the ground. Now, as a 20-year-old, we get right back up and jump, but I'm in my late 40s, early 50s. And I'm like, you know what? I am on Waxpool Road, a main road in Ashburn, people driving by. And I was just like, I did not get back up. I said, I'm just going to lay here and process that I have fallen for something that no obstacle, nothing. I don't know why I fell. 2 women are coming walking up and they say, are you okay? Do you need help? And I'm like, fine. I'm just going to lay here. And that is like life. People will walk up and try to help you. Sometimes you take it, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get right back up, and sometimes you just lay there. But eventually you have to get back up. I can't lay there through the night. I laid there for about 3 minutes. I was like, okay, time to move forward, time to get up. And I have used that analogy. Sometimes out of nowhere, smack, you hit an obstacle you're not recognizing, not expecting. Sometimes I'm just going to lay there. Sometimes people will offer me help. Sometimes they take it. Sometimes they don't. And sometimes I just lay there, but eventually you get up and move forward. And that's what I think about it.
I love that. Absolutely. You have to be willing to like chill sometimes.
Oh yeah, I was chilled. I was chilled laying on the ground trying to assess my injuries and how was I going to get back up, but it worked out good.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, I can't tell you how peaceful staring at my fan has been when I needed to check my brain out. Like just lay on my bed and stare.
Yeah.
So true. Absolutely. If you are in that season of your business where maybe you're not in the high and happy season of your business, maybe it's low or a slump season for you, or it's challenging, or maybe you work in the government and we've got a lot going on economically, it's very stressful. I highly encourage you, regardless of where you are, if you've not had a conversation with the mentors of our community, you should be meeting with them. Dawn is amazing. She will literally pour all the love and inspiration into you, and you'll just walk away feeling that positive energy, reminded that you can do great things. And we have tons of women in our community that you can find and connect with and have them support you emotionally. I like to joke, I have an emotional support human and she's my neighbor. And so maybe
True.
you need an emotional support human. Find it in the sisterhood, find it with us, you
And
know?
find those two that are in your industry. I always say there's enough for everybody. I love to be in other cleaning companies, making connections. So don't have the opinion, oh no, they're my competitor.
Yeah, I agree. I love meeting other marketers
Yes.
always. Like I'm like, let's share knowledge.
Yeah,
How can
what's going on? What's going on in the industry? How are
yeah,
things changing? Yes, exactly.
yes, absolutely. That's so good. Well, Dawn, we're gonna wrap it up here. Is there anything else you want to share before we hop off?
No, yes, I do want to share. I just
Good.
want to say people enter your life in seasons of your life that you're not expecting, and sometimes they're expected. And I just want to have everybody to just stop and take a deep breath and just process and say to you when you're in the deepest, darkest part that today we are okay. Today I have a roof. Today I have food. And today my kids and myself are healthy. And
Absolutely.
sometimes that's all I could do at certain points. And
Mhm.
it will be okay. That's what I want to say. Just pause, breathe, and then reach out. And
Yeah.
it's like when you have a miscarriage and you don't want to share, and then you share you have a miscarriage, or 20
Yeah.
million women will be like, oh, I had one too.
Yeah.
I love the vulnerability, by the way, at the summit of the women that were up there sharing their experiences, because you get so much in return once you do that.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, it's definitely amazing how just sharing parts of your story with someone else can be healing for yourself and be like a roadmap for someone else. Your journey, your story, how you went through a survival season and made it to the other side, like that
Yeah.
could be someone else's roadmap. And if you're
You are
not,
not alone.
yeah,
Yes, exactly.
absolutely. Well, Dawn, thank you so much for getting on with
Thank
us.
you.
I will drop your website link into the chat on Facebook for anyone who wants to check out our website. Highly recommend her, by the way. She has done 2 move out cleans for me, and her team is so efficient and so professional. They are amazing and they're really nice.
Thank you. I have great ladies around me for sure. Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you for our following. We'll see you on Monday for
Yep.
Marketing Monday, and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank
Bye.
you.